section. So this is a presentation of our work in a Erasmus strategic partnership project, which the main goal of the project was to develop source material, educational material in order to teach, to cover an entire subject with necessary educational material in order to be able to teach it with the flipped lesson method. So what's the flipped lesson method? That means you do some aspects from the perspective of the info communication and from the ChatGPT and from the artificial intelligence. So as I said, as I read somewhere, quite ironically, that in our society, the Google knows much more than you as a teacher, and every student who wants to find something can find something on the internet, much more. The internet can write you essays. So that means that it's somehow sticky somehow there's a necessity to have a change in attitudes in education. It's just a change that somehow asks from the European and Union's policies of education to not focus on how to transfer information, because information can be found on the different sources, but how to form competences. So when I'm talking about this, always there's somebody who says, yes, but necessary to speak information. Yes, it's necessary to learn information and for rote learning. But it's somehow there's a shifting, changing focus on much more on forming competences. And this is because of the information society, which every information, I mean, students are not really motivated to learn factual information because they can find it very easily on the internet. So what are the benefits of information society? The accessibility of education information, that is, the information can be found everywhere. The asynchronous communications, that students like that they can find information when they want from home. And there is a strange beneficial role, that's a increased time for interactive methods. So this is why, what is the motivation for flipped learning? That is, if the flipped learning, the sense of flipped learning is that students are given homework first. I mean, they are given educational videos or short introductory text to read or to watch at home, and they come to the class prepared. This is by default flipped, because they do the homework first. So they come with a class prepared, somehow prepared. But what's often missed in the flipped learning, that they also, before coming to the task, they are completing a kind of pre-test about questions about what they have learned or watched on educational videos, so that the teacher comes prepared to the class. So that decreases in classroom the need for front information presentation, because everything but in front or what can be found on the internet or educational methods was watched, ideally speaking, by the students before. And if the teacher reads the results of the pre-test, he comes prepared that what's the weak notions, what's the problems the students didn't understand, and he will have a much more time in classroom for interactive methods, focus on the hard questions or difficult notions to understand. I know this sounds very ideal, and students need to be prepared in every education and every scientific literature that yes, student needs to accommodate with this project, but it sounds anyway promising. If implemented properly, it has beneficial results. So that is the increased time for interactive method. I'm focusing what's the impact on the information society of teaching. So the increased time for implemented method, this was just one example of the flipped learning, but for example, the flipped learning or gamification is a new method about, it is also the beneficial effects of the communication technology gamification. So as as the gamification and the flipper learning, it was not discovered by the communications in the intercommunications of the society. Flipper learning existed even in the age of Plato. But the communication technology makes it much easier to implement, much easier this shift from the information provision to information elaboration, from facts to skills. Or, for example, cooperative learning is an old method used in education, but there's a computer-supported cooperative learning, which means even the cooperative learning with its beneficial effects can be implemented with computer or massive open online courses that I have tried several of them. Several of them can be good. So these are the impact of communication technology on education. So I've described already, because I've jumped ahead, the home test first of the flipper learning, that information prone to one-way communications can be given first, pretest, and increased question time for interactive methods. This is the sense of flipper learning, and this is the much more important that teacher can calibrate in-class activities in accordance with pretest results. There are several experimental results related to flipped classroom. That is, when changing to traditional methods of flipped classroom, it is expected to improve students' performance. The scientific literature are reviews, not just one applications. This is what evaluators have, and satisfaction. Total in almost all of the flipped classroom literature that if applied properly, it increases student satisfaction, and it increases students' motivation and their self-confidence. I mean, the case that they can learn in their own pace at home, and they can rewatch the videos and read the well-prepared text. It means that it increases their self-confidence and satisfaction. When compared with traditional teaching, blended learning, or online learning, flipped classroom is significantly better in increasing self-motivation and self-efficacy beliefs. This is against one of the conclusion of one of the reviews, scientific reviews. So in a previous project, not the one I'm presenting, we have we have 5 higher education institutes has made a questionnaire, implemented a questionnaire in their countries, Bulgaria, Hungary, Portugal, Romania, and Slovakia, that it was applied to academics, I mean higher education teachers. And we had really big problems because higher education teachers are not very willing to complete quizzes. They like very much quizzes completed by questionnaires, so they are not willingly complete. This is how many higher education teachers has completed, so this is not representative. So much to the country level differences, that the percentage who doesn't have heard about the flipped classroom method is quite high, in almost 20% in Hungary, okay, also and also in Romania. But in Bulgaria, a lot of teachers from those has heard about the flipped method. So this is not representative, but it's more interesting that the ones who have heard about the flipped classroom method and they were given answer choices that why did they try it in the classroom or not, and these are the most frequent answers why they didn't try it. And the first was that they have not enough knowledge about flipping, and the second most frequent answer was, I'm really speaking about higher education. It's a fact that will soon be replaced by the next new thing. It's kind of fashion. I've not tried. Okay. The third is what researchers mentioned that it's too time consuming, and indeed preparing flipped classroom materials is too time consuming, and they are uncomfortable with the approach. So another question is that teachers this is in concordance with the previous result, that do not really understand the role of flipped classroom methods. and it is unfamiliar to students, and also preparing the educational materials is time consuming. This is what was caused the project I'm talking about, that producing a 10-minute instructional video, some of the researchers mentioned, can take 32 working hours if animated. And this is why researchers recommend to flip in teams. So it is a recommendation. For example, there are several researchers who mentioned that they flip two of their classes because it's a too time consuming. But as other researchers said, in order to implement this method, students needs accommodation from students and from teachers. So you have to cover at least 8 or an entire semester class because they have to, but this is too difficult work. So this is why teachers from 5 educational institutes have we have made a project in order to cover with prepared classroom materials subject chosen by us. It is a project of critical thinking in information society, and these are the institutes involved, and this is a project that Romania, Poland, Lithuania, Greece, and Bulgaria. And also by working together has the beneficial effect that all the materials can be translated to all the languages. In Romania, we are Hungarian university, so translating 2 languages, Romanian and Hungarian, and also English. So in total, all the materials will be available in 7 languages. So what is covering the discipline? We have chosen the disciplines of teaching critical thinking. It's a separate discipline. It's a separate course. For example, at Sapientia University, at other universities, it's included in other courses. So we have chosen the target to cover 20 topics. I mean, each of the partners 4 topics that will be 20 educational videos, which they're only, unfortunately, the only requirement about that it should be 10 minutes long. By the way, meanwhile, we have discovered that 6-minute long educational videos is just enough. Students want much more. Pre-test with all questions. I mentioned already the role the pre-test is essential, and it was closed questions because it needs to be analyzed by teachers, and it's quite much easier to analyze pre-test question. And post-testing, the prepared question method is optional, but that goes for open-ended questions. And also a teacher guide is under development. This is ongoing. This will start from September to develop the teacher's guide. That is that will contain a description of educational, classroom activities, interactive classroom activities, and associated to each topic, how to cover it. And in 7 languages will be translated. Yeah. Okay. There was piloting from the implementation of the already elaborated method in this academic years. In fact, it's still ongoing in Greece and Thessaloniki University and in Poland at Krakow Pedagogical Institute. The requirement was that at least 8 weeks out of 8 topics to be applied for each of the partners. And teachers should write who were applying weekly reports, and students have completed an evaluation questionnaire, and teacher has written a 5,000 character file report. This is kind of pilot implementation. So I'm presenting now some preliminary data from qualitative data from teachers' experiences. That all the teachers mentioned that interactive activities started with difficulties. But when one of the students mentioned the educational method of the project with $100, I mean, the fact that students, all of the students, okay, there were some percent, about 10% of the students didn't watch it. Okay, that's okay. But if they watched and they knew each other that watch, if somebody has triggered the questions, and then, I mean, the main task of the teacher was to make the one student to pose the questions, and if one student pose the questions, then immediately a discussion between students began, because almost all of them has watched the video. This was a rotation of students, I mean of the teachers. And second, that students were very eager to to expect the feedback of from the pretest, and they were quite difficult. What giving is pretest was, by the way, anonymous. So they were expecting, okay, was my answer correct? Was my answer not correct? And they were answering the feedback of the teachers, and this is why, I mean, we made the test for the teachers easier because they had only close-ended questions. Case studies were prepared as opposed to problem-based learning at group discussion. These are some interactive methods in the classroom. And students were more engaged as compared to other similar activities, and they were motivated to discuss the pretest result. Okay, I talked about this. Okay. So, and as about the student questionnaires, yes, did you notice any difference between this and others? Yes, of course, they notice difference, but would you like to learn this a final Likert scale, which was finally match? Average was a little bit, some would say that not too much, I mean, almost 4. But in only Romania, the students were divided in 2 groups. There was a control group. I mean, there were the courses in the university courses in every university in Romania has 2 parts. There's a lecture presentation, 2 hours, 90 minutes. You have usually 90 minutes of interactive activities. And the maximum number of students in interactive activities, that is seminary activities, have to be 15. So this was a requirement to be divided into several groups. And one of the groups was control group and the other experimental group. That is, the experimental group has watched the people learning videos and conducting activities. And the other experimental groups, we did something common in our university. They have prepared short 10 minutes presentation. Okay, so 10 minutes presentation. So the control group, again, the difference that control group significance difference was that would you like to learn with this method or other courses? The flipped learning students, yes, they were eager to learn with this method. Yeah, which is the difference was significant with control group. The positive results, what they mentioned that the course favors the development of knowledge and competency field and interactive methods. Much more important, negative method. The course should have a more practical focus. This is from students, or rotation of students. I think that making binders and presenting the lectures is a very practical idea. So this, as I said, this is a pilot method we have learned from the feedbacks of students, and this is a part of quality assurance that some of the, where we are preparing the teacher guides to include this in the teacher guide. Yes, willingness to be trained using the flipped classroom method. Yes, this is the result already presented, but graphically. Did the implemented method affect your level of comprehension in your courses? Okay, this is self-evaluation questions. Average was for the banded experiment for a group in Romania for just 75. So this difference is significant. And another advantage of flipped classroom method in an interactive way. As the level of interactive higher, the class activity is comparable. Yes, average control group, it was not significant. The difference for the control group didn't find interactivity of the class less significant. So I think this I start to do later, and this one I will not present. It's too complicated. And like starting later that did they understand the most rated questions? I did not understand the goal of the implemented approach. Disagree strongly the experimental group. The activities was engaging this experimental group. Yes, they found it very engaging, and the same results for the control group. So that's graphical comparison. So findings in general are in concordance with the recommendation of the flipped twist and correction that the method is motivating for students. It leaves a new atmosphere in the classroom. Educational videos have facilitated the classroom method. However, what we have learned most important thing in this project that educational videos are indeed very hard to prepare, and we have also learned that you have to hire professionals in order to make educational videos. I mean, it's quite okay for higher education teachers to prepare the text of the videos and a kind of structure of the videos. But for preparing educational videos, we don't have to cover financial so to do this. And this was a problem because in accordance with the teachers, I mean the students' feedbacks. And I understood that. Thank you for your attention.